In this book, Make No Law, the Sullivan Case and the First Amendment by Anthony Lewis, who's by the author of The Giddens Trumpet. This is one case law that he had written on. The Supreme Court's famous case of 1963, in which the right to counsel, especially with the people who were too poor or could not afford, they could ask for a lawyer. So this is a seminal work, that is Make No Law, that critically examines the landmark Supreme Court case New York Times Company and Sullivan 1964 and its profound impact on the First Amendment. So this is all about the freedom of the press. Lewis explores how the Sullivan case reinforced the importance of a free press in a democratic society. The ruling set a higher standard for providing libel against public officials, ensuring robust protection for journalists and media organizations. Now the Sullivan case, arose from a full-page advertisement in the New York Times that contained minor factual inaccuracies about the treatment of civil rights protesters in Montgomery, Alabama. L.B. Sullivan, a city commissioner, sued for libel, and the Supreme Court's decision to overturn the Alabama court's ruling in favor of the Sullivan marked a significant shift in the First Amendment's jurisprudence. Anthony Lewis highlights the court's introduction of the actual malice standard, which requires public officials to prove that defamatory statements were made with knowledge of their falsity or with reckless disregard for the truth. This standard has been crucial in protecting press freedom and encouraging vigorous public debate. Well, this was the advertisement in the New York Times, Tuesday, March 29, 1960. Heed their rising voices. The growing movement of peaceful mass demonstration is something new in the South, something understandable. Let Congress heed their rising voices, for they will be heard. That's what was written right here on top. Look at this. And then look at it's written. As the whole world knows by now, thousands of Southern students were engaged in widespread non-violent demonstration and positive affirmation to the right to live in human dignity as guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights, etc. And then you can see here, Committee to Defend Martin Luther King and the Struggle for Freedom in the South. So this is what it is. And then in support, they were asked to please mail this coupon today. So this is it. Just let me read. This is the first chapter, and heed their rising voices. That's how he writes. It began in the most ordinary way. Late in the afternoon of March 23rd, 1960, John Murray went to the New York Times building on the West 43rd Street in New York to make arrangements for an advertisement in the paper. Murray wanted to reserve space, a full page, for an editorial advertisement. It was for an organization called Committee to Defend Martin Luther King and the Struggle for Freedom in the South. The civil rights movement, and Dr. King as its most important leader, was challenging the rigid racial segregation that in 1960 still existed in the states of the Deep South, enforced by law and by violence. So, from the inner jacket, I read the rights of every American were enhanced for generation by a legal struggle that began with an advertisement, which I just showed, in the New York Times on March 29, 1960. The full page ad, signed by, among others, Eleanor Roosevelt and Jackie Robinson, sought support for the campaign by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to end racial segregation in the South and win blacks the right to vote. It led to a lawsuit whose stakes were nothing less than the historic American freedom of speech and of the press. And Make No Law tells a story of this great case, which ended in a ringing Supreme Court decision for the Times and a far-reaching victory for First Amendment freedoms. Writing with grace and authority, Anthony Lewis interweaves this gripping account of the Sullivan case with an illuminating look at the history and evolution of the First Amendment. The result is a brilliant work that is a resounding tribute to the Bill of Rights on its 200th anniversary. This is a book that makes its reader proud to be Americans. So, if you look at the historical context, Lewis provides a rich historical context tracing the evolution of the First Amendment and the societal pressures that shaped the Sullivan case. His analysis underscores the role of the judiciary in safeguarding democratic values. And as a legal scholar and journalist, Lewis offers a nuanced understanding of the court's reasoning and the implications of the Sullivan decision for future cases. His writing is accessible yet intellectually rigorous. Lewis effectively argues that the Sullivan ruling was pivotal in protecting the press's ability to hold public officials accountable. He emphasizes the importance of free speech in fostering an informed and engaged citizenry. While Lewis focuses intensely on the Sullivan case, some critics argue that it had a limited scope and that the book could benefit from a broader examination of other First Amendment cases and their interplay with this case of Sullivan. Lewis's perspective is largely sympathetic to the press and the court's decision. Some readers might wish for a more critical examination of the potential downsides of the actual malice standard, such as its impact on individuals' ability to seek redress for reputational harm. Talking about its relevance or its impact or the influence on legal scholarship, Make No Laws has been widely praised for its clarity and insight. It has influenced legal scholars, journalists, and students of constitutional law, offering a compelling narrative about the importance of the First Amendment. The book remains relevant in contemporary debates about free speech, press freedom, and the role of the media in democracy. Lewis's analysis provides valuable context for understanding modern challenges such as misinformation and the legal boundaries of journalistic freedom. So, this book is a masterful exploration of the Sullivan case and its enduring impact on the First Amendment. Lewis's work serves as both a historical account and a powerful argument for the importance of protecting free speech and press freedom. While it may have some limitations in scope, its insights into the legal and societal dynamics of time make it an invaluable resource for future reference. Now, talking about the title, it is a direct quote from the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which says, "Congress shall make no laws abridging the freedom of speech or of the press. So the book explores the landmark Supreme Court case, New York Times Company versus Sullivan, which reinforced this constitutional principle. Well, that's the ISBN for you.